Derek Creason Show. This is episode 17. Coming up on today's show, we'll talk TV, sports, music, news, all kinds of fun stuff. We'll talk about what shows I'm watching lately. We'll talk about my awesome favorite team, the Chiefs in the NFL. We'll talk about the Creed concert I went to last night. And, of course, we'll talk about the news, what's going on in the news. I don't know, the big election that happened just a couple days ago. We'll talk about the results and what's going to happen next. So stay tuned for all of that. As always, I welcome your feedback, your questions, suggestions, etc. Derek at DerekCreason.com is the email address. At Derek Creason on X, Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble. Head over to my website, DerekCreason.com, for the latest updates. And sign up for my newsletter so you can stay up to date with what's going on in my world. And lastly, my book 20-something is available on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle and paperback. Links are all over my social media pages. Or you can just type in my name, Derek Creason, in the Amazon search bar and it'll show up. Are you craving more of the Derek Creason Show? Come join my locals community and become an insider. It's totally free. It's like a VIP backstage pass. Inside the community, you'll get exclusive content that you won't hear anywhere else, including behind-the-scenes secrets, my unfiltered takes on the latest news and pop culture, and even sneak peeks at upcoming projects. You'll also get a look into my creative process, as well as new ways to interact, connect, and engage with me and the show community directly. Plus, supporters will get bonus episodes not available to the public. So it's all about supporting the show and building an awesome community. So go to the DerekCreasonShow.locals.com and become an insider today. You'll get tons of free content that you won't get anywhere else on my socials. All right, let's jump into the show. All right, recent life updates. What have I been up to lately? Today is Wednesday, so last week I took a week off from lifting weights. I've been lifting weights for a couple months now, getting back into the swing of it. And then last week, right before the beginning of the last week, my kids brought home germs from school, and I caught one of their colds going around, so I didn't feel really good for 3 or 4 days, so I took a couple days off and then just having a hard time mentally trying to get motivated and get back in the game. So just took the whole week off, got back at it this week, and things are going really well this week. I'm enjoying being back lifting weights down in the basement, and I'm making some good progress on stuff. So I enjoyed that. I went to the Creed concert last night. They played with Three Doors Down. That was a really good show. I'll talk more about that coming up in the music section. That was a good time. I'm also getting ready to go on a cruise with the family here in the near future, so that should be interesting. Never done that before, so I'm kind of excited to go and experience that kind of vacation and see how it goes. A couple weekends ago, I went and helped my brother move into a new house, so that was fun times for him. Me and him are still making wrestling podcasts occasionally as we can, so we actually are due to record one in the next few days, so we need to get that going. And what else is going on? I am working on setting up a Substack page for writing and blogging and getting back into that. And I'm possibly going to move my email newsletter over to that from MailChimp. So I'm working on that through that and seeing if that's going to be worth doing and maybe force myself to get back into writing a little bit more. So that's what I've been up to lately. All right, let's talk TV shows. What have I been watching lately? I just finished season 2 of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. This show is on Amazon Prime. It's been one of the most expensive TV shows ever to make. But if you're a Lord of the Rings nerd, you may or may not like it. It's been mixed reviews. I think season 2 has gotten some pretty decent reviews. I just finished it, so it's set in the Second Age. It's all a prequel to the original books and the movies. So that's kind of interesting. They've taken a lot of the stories from the appendixes that have taken over kind of 1,000 years. They kind of condensed it a little bit, but it's really interesting to kind of see the stories of how Sauron came to power and then how he manipulates people and moves people and how the dwarves and the elves got along and didn't get along and the Númenóreans, and I didn't know much about them, but so pretty interesting. You actually get to see how Sauron gets the rings created. They gives the 3 rings for the elves and the, is it 5 or 7? 7 rings for the dwarves, and then the 9 rings for men. Is how the season ended. That was in the last episode. And they were fighting. A lot of neat stuff. I just read somewhere that it's supposed to go for 5 seasons, so it'll be interesting. I can't imagine it going much more than 3 or 4 seasons, but they're right where the season ended was, I think the next thing that should start happening is how Sauron goes and makes the one ring to rule them all. So that's kind of where they ended it with that. This Galadriel is one of the main characters. They introduced Tom Bombadil, who's in the Fellowship of the Ring stories. I didn't realize he was alive that long. They tell the Dwarven stories of how they discovered the Balrog. He makes an appearance at the end of the season, the one that Gandalf fights. So that was pretty interesting to see how they unearthed that. So a lot of just kind of interesting callbacks, and just if you like Lord of the Rings, you would probably like it. Sometimes the storylines were a little convoluted, and there'd be like 5 storylines going on at once, which is sometimes hard to follow all along. But overall, for an 8-episode season, they covered a lot of ground and a lot of stories, and overall, I really liked it. So here it says it's been nominated for 6 Primetime Emmys, 15 wins, and 48 nominations total. I don't know how many that is. Get me. All right, the next show that I've been watching is Race to Survive Alaska. I guess it was originally on USA, but I'm watching it on Peacock, so interesting. Anyways, it is an adventure racing type show, adventure racing sports. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but basically it's kind of, hey, we're going to run or hike or canoe, basically any type of hardcore outdoor stuff, rappelling, and how far can we stretch that out, whether that's over 10 or 12 hours in one day, or these really long big ones that go for days and days, if not weeks. This one is a 40-day race, 40 days of racing, which with 5 or 6 individual races inside of it, and each one of those races can take anywhere from 2 to 5 days. But the interesting part is that the competitors are in teams of 2, and so they've got your normal TV pairings for reality TV shows like that. You've got the dad and the son, you've got the friends, you've got all those kind of tropes. They're all are filled out in there, but they can only race for 12 hours during the day, so they have to take all their own stuff with them. So they're basically backpacking. And then they have a map and a compass, and they have to go get across whatever part of the course they're on. And it's all up in Alaska, so there's lots of mountains and valleys and bears, lots of bears. And then once the 12 hours are up, they have to stop and camp for the night until the next 12 hours. That's when they get to rest and try to find food and stuff. And it's really just kind of interesting to see that how people can survive in harsh stuff, how much they can push themselves to go through hard stuff, how much they can work together and not work together, and then do various obstacles and stuff. And then when they finish the course, the little short courses after 3 to 4 or 5 days, they'll have to stop and just do what they call survival camp. And basically they'll get 2 to 3 days to just sit there and rest. And all they have to do there is just make camp and then try to forage or hunt and fish for food. And if 2 teams finish first, they get more time to rest. And then the teams that come in last get eliminated. And so we're almost finished with this season. There's another season for Race to Survive, and it's in a different location. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's not Alaska. But so far, it's a pretty interesting show, and I like it. So go check it out. Let me know what you think of it. Those are the 2 main shows that I've been watching lately for TV. All right, let's talk news today. So today we got a special treat. I'm not just going to talk the news myself. I brought my friend Skyler, got a hold of him and said, hey, you want to do the news with me on my podcast? And he said, sure, let's do it. So welcome, Skyler.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
Hello,
all right.
Welcome.
All right, so today on the news, what's been going on in the news lately? Nothing major, huh? Right? So first up, we'll talk about let me change some screen here. Boom. So the election, Donald Trump won. Kamala Harris lost.
Yeah.
And it is Wednesday at 7 o'clock at night on the 7th, and they still have not called Nevada or Arizona. And I was checking all kinds of sites, and they still haven't called it, so who knows how terrible.
They win the popular vote.
Yeah, still up 73 to 68, so 4 or 5 million. Yep.
Wow.
So.
Hasn't happened in a couple decades.
Yeah. I did see that on this list of news stuff, where was it? It said Trump's allies are already jockeying for high-powered spots in his administration. So all his buddies are like, hey, good job. Hey, I think I'd be great for such and such job. What do you think?
Yeah, of course.
So that's kind of the interesting stuff. What's going to happen the next few months as they start to get ready to transition. I've been reading and hearing some things that he's talked to a lot of world leaders. He's getting ready to talk to Russia. Interestingly enough, I saw Hamas called for a peace to the war. They want to end the war already.
He's not even elected
not
yet.
even in power yet, and a lot of countries are just like, oh, we better get in line because He's not going to put up with our shenanigans. So
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I thought that was interesting.
Projecting power. Yeah, fascinating.
Any thoughts on all of that?
You need to show power on the world stage, so I think it speaks volumes that people are already reacting before it even happened yet.
Yeah. You don't think Sleepy Joe was projecting power very well?
No, not at all. And I don't think Kamala would have projected very much power.
Yeah.
Kept people in line.
I did see also, he said something in one of his speeches. I don't remember if it was yesterday or today, but he said he wanted resignations of all the generals involved in the Afghan withdrawal on his desk on Inauguration Day by noon. And I was like,
Oh,
good
wow.
for him. I know we're both in the
Yeah.
military, so we're not really supposed to be super political, but I'm just talking about the news. Like, that makes me happy because I'm still frustrated about how that went badly and some of our guys died.
Yeah. Made us look bad in the world stage when
Yeah.
we're running away.
Yeah, and we left billions of equipment and all that. It was just bad. It was bad.
Not a great look.
So this is one thing I saw too, is like Democrats all start their blame game. Whose fault is it that we lost? Do you think they'll have some introspection or reflection and realize what's going on? Like why people didn't want anything that they're selling?
Nope. I think they're going to blame the American people and say it's your fault because you're racist, homophobic, sexist, fill in the blank.
That is probably very likely. I did see Bernie Sanders put out a statement that was somewhat self-reflective, and he said, hey, Democrats used to be for the working class people, but they're not anymore. And the working class people don't want to be for the Democrats anymore.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think they've gone farther left. And, I think Trump is almost more centrist than we've seen in a lot of ways. So, yes,
Yeah.
he says he's a Republican, but there's definitely some points that don't put him in squarely in the far right camp.
Yeah. So, yeah, being pretty conservative myself, I'd say there's some things I don't think he's conservative enough on, etc. But I would say that their whole strategy of he's literally Hitler and he's going to be a fascist dictator and he's going to take away all this stuff and become a dictator. And like, but he already was president for 4 years.
For 4 years. Did we all forget this?
He didn't do any of that. He did,
Yeah.
he did get out of office when his 4 years was up, even though he didn't think it went well for him, like, so I don't think people were buying that. And then I think people were just super obvious, like, hey, the economy, inflation, all that just sucks right now compared to how it was right before COVID, everything was just a lot better back then.
Are you better today than you were 4 years ago? It's a really simple question, you know? So I get it. You maybe don't invite him to a dinner party, but is he going to have policies that are going to help the American people?
Right. And I would say that, yeah, in general, a lot of the policy things that he did or tried to do, better interest rates, better price of gas and food, better economy, better foreign policy, etc. down the line, and then just compared to the last 4 years. And that was always cracked me up too, or it was interesting. Like Kamala Harris kept saying, I'm the candidate of change. We need something different, new and different. I'm like, but you're in power right now. Like,
yeah, for the last 1,000 days.
Why aren't you doing it right now? And why are you trying to brand yourself as something new than what it currently is? When that's self-incriminating that you're admitting, hey, we're doing a bad job.
Well, she has to fight the fight of, covering for a senile president.
I saw that.
Also say we did great things. And
they said in Joe Biden's speech, I was reading through it today, they said that we did a lot of things, but it takes time to get things done. And they're just now starting to see the results of all the hard work that they've done.
No.
And
sounds like a political answer.
Yeah, political answer.
One of the things I like about Trump is he did like long form interviews where he just talked to people, and I'm like, I think that
did a lot to change
like
his public image and a lot to improve his public image and his favorables, and just whoever thought, hey, let's get him on all these podcasts that people can relate to and it doesn't feel forced like a media interview. It's just like, hey, let's sit down and talk and see who you really are. And it's
and he's not trying to be something he's not. He's not trying to say, hey, I'm one of you and I'm working at McDonald's. It's, hey, I'm a billionaire and I'm going to wear a suit and then work at McDonald's because I'm fighting for you, not because I'm trying to be something that I'm not. So I like the authenticity about that.
Yeah. So that's cool. I did think it was good that both Kamala and Biden came out and said, hey, we're going we're pro-democracy and we're going to be peaceful transfer of power. Like, it wouldn't have surprised me if they said other things and be like, this is illegitimate. We're going to prosecute. We're going to do whatever, I think it was good that he won so profoundly that it wasn't dragged out for months or weeks, and then
and that's if it was
could have been way worse.
280 to 267 would have been very different, and people screaming that it was stolen, or because it's 300 electoral votes, we're going to accept it and assume the people have spoken. We don't like your brand of.
I think he's projected to get 310 or 311, something like that, once they finally finish counting those other two states. So
I don't ever remember that happening in my lifetime. I don't even think Obama had that many.
I don't remember. Nobody's won no Republicans won the popular vote since Bush in 2004, so it's been a while.
Yeah,
so
20 years.
It will be interesting. I did want to mention that he said, hey, they're all for the peaceful transfer of power, but yet, and then like the last 2 weeks, they went back to he's literally Hitler, and he's going to be a complete fascist dictator. But we're going to do a peaceful transfer of power. I'm like, so you're admitting that he's Hitler and you're just going to give him the reins peacefully? Or were you just saying whatever you thought might stick, throw everything at the wall, everything in the kitchen sink, throw it at the wall and see what sticks and hope that something might land to swing more voters my way and get, as I desperately grasp for power, do they really believe it or not?
Yeah, I have a problem with everything is emotion based and just hyperbole or whatever you want to say. And okay, tell me about the facts. What does Kamala want about the border? What does Kamala want about inflation? What about foreign policy? What about
what's your
taxes on tips? Like, tell me something you believe in instead of just, well, we have vibes or, well,
right. I think I heard it described as what's your policy positions? All you're giving me is accusations. If all you run on is he's bad, he's this, he's that, he's this, not that. Like, no, what's your policy? What's your plan? What are you going to do?
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah.
It's not hire me and I'll give you my resume after. It's
right. No.
Let me show you my resume and then you decide if you want to hire me.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. We'll see. On his appointments, it says, I just saw this. Trump picks Susie Wiles as chief of staff in first major appointment. So,
okay.
And it looks like Putin talked to him and commended him for his victory. So I don't know Susie Wiles, anything about her other than it said that she worked on a campaign or something of his.
I'll tell you this, though. This is one of the first times I'm actually excited about the team around the president. Because with Musk and government efficiency and RFK and getting food pyramid and things like that squared away against lobbyists and big food, like, this is one of the few times I'm like, I can see the puzzle pieces fitting together and how each individual person is fighting for something, even if their party wasn't the way to get it done.
Absolutely.
So I really like that he's bringing people from both sides. And I don't know.
Tulsi Gabbard's former Democrat, RFK Jr., very high profile, former Democrat, whole family, former Democrat legends, I think that there's that saying that personnel is policy, and I don't know if you listened to his Joe Rogan interview. It was really long. It took me a couple of days to wade through it because I wanted to hear what he had to say, because I thought, here he's going on the largest podcast platform in the world, and that just put one more nail in the coffin of the mainstream media. Hey, podcasts are the way to go versus old school mainstream media because people have lost so much trust in it. But he on that podcast, he said
he admitted views than
on the podcast he said, hey, I made some mistakes the first time in hiring people. I was an outsider. I didn't know, and I just took people's recommendations, and I think people took advantage of him and said, hey, hire this person for that job and this person for that job, and some were okay, but a lot were not so great, and he had to learn his way through that. I think I'm very excited, like you said, about the team that he brought in. I think Elon is super smart, going to do great things. I'm super excited about RFK Jr. He's who I liked the most out of all the candidates, and I wish that we had more than two-party system. I definitely would have voted for him or libertarians if they had a chance. But yeah, I'm excited about the team they're all bringing in.
A lot. It's just
I hope that he doesn't waste it and just like, hey, I've got 4 years to get things done. If anyone has the right to be grumpy, I mean, they've shot at him, they've prosecuted him, they've done all kinds of stuff, and he still seems to be
2 impeachments, 2 assassination attempts.
He doesn't seem to have a huge chip on his shoulder.
Probably one of the few times Yeah.
Who knows? So
I know I've seen it a lot of times. Like God has a plan for him because he's still here. I was like, wow, that's strong.
so I hope it's an opportunity for some things to change in our country and to make some
Yeah,
real progress in a whole lot of areas. And I hope that
sure.
all these people he's bringing in do a really good job.
Yeah, and it might be a blessing that it's his third go instead of his second, because if he got it last time, he would not have had Senate, probably the House. So I think he learned a lot from that
Who did he run
time in
with
between.
on the second one?
And
Was it Pence still?
oh yeah, it was Pence.
Yeah, Pence would have been a terrible vice president.
Pence twice.
Or was, and I'm not.
So
I think JD Vance can be a lot better.
Oh yeah. Well, and I like Vance because I think he chose him because it was a good choice. Usually you choose a vice president to shore up your weaknesses to get elected. Like, hey, we need these two states and you're strong in these two states. This time that was not a Vance choice. This is what we're looking at in the future. So I really like that choice. He has a book that I really want to check out because it talks about the history.
I've heard about it. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just scrolling through the news on this website here real quick. And I thought this one was funny. Nevada votes thrown into chaos because young voters can't sign their names. They don't know how to write in cursive. There you go, Gen Z.
That's awesome.
As much as they make fun of us millennials and, whatever. So I'm going to throw that one right back at them.
He hit a lot of demographics this time. So that's pretty cool. It's not like he hit only certain areas. Minorities, young voters, women. He basically hit everything and improved in every area. There wasn't a single area that Kamala outperformed what Biden did last time.
That was a funny viral clip with Jake Tapper. Nothing? Nothing?
Nothing? I don't know if that was planned or if they just, maybe we should have brought this up.
So the last thing I saw.
You don't trust the media.
Yeah. The last story I saw that we can talk about, I thought was kind of funny. Interesting. They said her campaign raised $1 billion and now they're finishing $20 million in debt. So they spent all that money and then some. I was like, who's going to pay that back? Who gets set with that student loan?
That's what you want to trust with the financial policies of the country.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. So
sure, that's
kind of all the things I wanted to talk about in the news today. So interesting times, interesting to see what's going to happen moving forward.
Yeah, I'm ready. So did I hear that right? He already got his own transition team and didn't wait for the government-appointed one to get rolling?
I think they're getting ready to start stuff pretty quick, yeah. I think they're going to try to get stuff going. It sounds like he's already doing phone calls with world leaders, and people are already starting to react. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few months.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good deal.
So
times.
That's all the interesting news stuff that we're going to talk about today. So thanks, Skyler, for coming on and hanging out with me today and talking the news.
Yeah, thanks so much. Have a good one, Derek.
All right, we'll talk to you later. All right, let's talk music. So, yesterday on a Wednesday night, weird to go to concerts on a Wednesday night, but in the middle of the week, sometimes Tuesday nights. Last night, Wednesday, I went and saw Creed and Three Doors Down. So it was a really good show. It was at T-Mobile Center in downtown Kansas City. Had a good time. Me and Amy went. So I had seen Three Doors Down before, and I had seen Alter Bridge a couple times before, which is everybody in Creed but the singer. But I had never seen Creed before by themselves. So, and they had been not a band for a long time, since not long after high school and college time, 20 some odd years ago. So I'll show you guys some pictures here real quick and some videos. So here's me and Amy. There was a cool thing you could take pictures at and sign your name on. So that was kind of cool. Took some pictures there. Here's one video of when Creed started, and it was just kind of a little sensory overload with the lights and the fire. So, and then I was going to show you this one. One of the more popular songs everybody knows. sounded really good in there. 17,000 people singing along. It was a lot of fun. They played really well. They probably played for an hour, hour and a half. So it was a good time. It was a good concert. I really enjoyed it. It was very high school soundtrack nostalgia for sure. You know, I had all 3 of Creed's albums back in the day and liked them when they were cool. And so had a really good time. I love going to hear live music. Any good rock or metal band, whether it's radio rock cliche or not, I don't care. I like good live music, and it was a fun time. So that is all I got for music today. All right, let's talk sports. So the only thing I wanted to cover today in sports is the reigning, defending, back-to-back Super Bowl champions, my Kansas City Chiefs. We are 8-0. Coming up this weekend, we're playing the Broncos, one of our division rivals. We have beaten them so many times, and I don't even know what the Broncos' record is this year, but it's probably not great. And we're doing awesome. And even with this crazy injury report, Juju Smith-Schuster did not practice. Kareem Hunt, limited practice. Oh, and then a full practice. So everybody's hurt. Patrick Mahomes is doing better with his ankle. So it doesn't matter. You can take away all our good stars. We'll get backups. The Chiefs will find a way to get it done. So I'm excited to see how the season keeps going. And so far, other than the Lions, I don't know who else can really give us a run for our money. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Looking forward to watching the Chiefs versus the Broncos this coming weekend. What's your pick on that game? I'm going to say the Chiefs are going to win. I haven't even looked at the spread yet, but I would just take the money line on that if I was just going to pick something real quick off the top of my head. So that's it for today's sports. Go Chiefs! All right, that's going to do it for today's show. I want to say thank you for listening and hanging out with me today. Another big thanks to my friend Skyler for coming on and doing the news with me. So let me know what you think. How about that? If you like having 2 people on versus just listening to me talking head all day long. So I'll try to do that more as I can with different people. Derek at DerekCreason.com is the email address where you can send me all your feedback. At Derek Creason on X, Instagram, YouTube, and Rumble. If you want to message me or check out my stuff on socials. You'll also see I got a TikTok somewhere. I'll put it somewhere. It's in the end of the episode closing footer thing. I don't know what you would call it. Outro video that comes up. So go check that out. Go to my website, DerekCreason.com. I'll post my latest updates there. I'm getting ready to post one later tonight. And go to Amazon. Look for my book, 20-something. Go check it out. Get yourself a copy on paperback or Kindle. Go read it. It's awesome. I put 6 years of work into it, so hope you like it. It's got 5-star reviews. That's going to do it for today. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the podcast, all that fun stuff, wherever you found it. It's on all the big platforms, Apple, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, etc., whatever. So, like and share to your heart's content. I will catch you guys on the next episode. Later.